Hello subscribers! In 1989 I saw the movie Pet Sematary and I loved it for so many reasons. One reason was the locations. I was so intrigued by these locations that I wanted to go see them myself. I wanted to go to the Creed house, walk down that path to the Pet Sematary, cross the barrier, take that secret hike, and end up at the old Micmac Indians Burial Ground. This year in 2018, I saw the movie again, and suddenly my childhood desire was completely resurrected. Once again I wanted to go see these places, and this time I actually did. So today, I'd like to share some of my photos and give you a few tips if you want to visit yourself. But first I'd like to quickly explain, Pet Sematary's legendary author Stephen King was born and raised in the state of Maine. Most of his books were set there, but the movies based on those books were shot in different locations, like California or parts of Canada. However, in the case of Pet Sematary, King felt that so many details from the story were based on real events that happened to him while he was in the state of Maine that this movie just had to be shot there. So King said he'd only sign the rights allowing it to be made into a movie if it was in the contract that this movie be shot in Maine. Now I'll start with showing you the Creed house. The GPS address is 303 Point Road, Hancock, Maine. The town of Hancock is about 1 hour south from the city of Bangor and about 30 minutes north from the famous vacation area of Bar Harbor or Acadia Park. When I got to the Creed house location, I parked my car on the side of the road. I saw a group of people sitting on the porch. I told them I was a fan of the movie and asked if they'd mind me taking pictures. They told me to take pictures of the road. I guess they just didn't want me stepping on their property. But as you can see, the house still pretty much looks the same except for that white fence. Here's the yard on the other side of the house, used for the scene when the Creed family was flying a kite. And directly across the street is Jud Crandall's house at 308 Point Road. Now you're probably thinking, this house looks completely different than the house seen in the movie, right? Well, the truth is, the house seen in the movie wasn't actually a real house. I guess I should say, spoiler alert, that at the end of the movie the house burns down. So in reality, the filmmakers built two walls that looked like a house covering the real house. So at the end they were able to burn those walls without damaging the actual house. But the garage still pretty much looks the same. Anyway, I did not see any large trucks driving down the road. This path that leads to the Pet Sematary in the movie was most likely built for the movie. Now in 2018, the weeds have grown pretty high there. I don't know if you can really see in these photos, but I saw the tiniest remains of the old path. So of course I walked down to see where it really goes. It just took me to this stream which leads to the lake behind the house. I'm not sure if you noticed in the movie, but there is a lake behind the house. Anyway, I crossed the stream and it just took me to a small road. The road is called Lewis Lane. Now you might be wondering, where is the location used for the Pet Sematary? That's about a 20-minute drive from the Creed house location into the town of Ellsworth. There's really no exact GPS address for it. I guess you could type 311 High Street, Ellsworth, Maine into your GPS. That'll take you to this little shopping area with a few stores. And if you walk right around the south side of this little shopping center and don't go nearly as far as that hotel, you'll see this path on the road. You want to walk down that path. I'll say the walk is a few hundred feet. By the end you reach this gate and you'll want to go left around it. And although there's not much to recognize, this is the location that was once used for the Pet Sematary. Not only is everything built for the movie long since been removed, but weeds and even trees have grown, so space is not even really a clearing in the woods anymore. The only thing you still can recognize are these boulders. After Lewis and Jud cross the barrier, we see them at this area in the wood with the gnarled exposed tree roots. This is the only location that I'm going to talk about here, but not be able to show you what it looks like today. I can tell you the spot is located inside the famous Acadia National Park, which is a huge park with tons of hiking trails, and none of the spots have GPS addresses. But this spot is near the northwest corner of Jordan Pond. Once you get inside the park, which you have to pay a fee to do, there is a gift shop for Jordan Pond, so you can ask for directions there. The best directions I got were, Park your car in Bubble Rock parking lot near the north end of Jordan Pond, and after a half mile or so, you head south from Bubble Rock parking area to the shore of Jordan Pond. Turn right, north, and follow a long lake to the far side. Deerbrook Trail heads north from the lake to Carriage Road. I did attempt the hike myself, but I happened to go late in the day on a rainy day. At one point it was beginning to get dark, I did not have a flashlight, and I really didn't feel like getting stuck in the woods the whole night in the rain, so I just turned around while I still had some daylight. But I will just comment that I couldn't imagine how the movie crew carried all their camera and audio equipment down these trails. It's not a strenuous hike, but it's a long way to go carrying so much equipment. I should also mention I'm told that when you finally reach the spot, those gnarled tree roots are now covered with wooden steps built by people like the ones seen in these photos. These are not the exact steps, but hopefully you get the point. After Lewis and Jud get past that spot, we see them hike by a cliff with what looks like a pile of fallen rocks forming a small island in the pond. I did go exactly there, and as you can see, it still pretty much looks the same, except now more plants have grown. That's only about a 15-minute drive from Acadia Park, and what's interesting is that when you look at these shots, if you were to just pan the camera a little bit, you see civilization. That's called John Williams Boat Company, so if you want to find this spot, you're best off typing the address of the boat company into your GPS, which is 17 Shipwright Lane, Mount Desert, Maine. When I was there, I told them I was a fan of the movie and I just wanted to hike around the lake, and they allowed me to leave my car in their parking lot. They were very nice. Here's another shot of the spot from the grounds of the boat company, and you can see a house in the background. The boat company staff told me their business was there when the movie was filmed, which means the shots in the movie were carefully framed not to show us these buildings. Anyway, after this site comes a spot which Pet Sematary fans are likely most curious about, the Micmac Indians Burial Ground. This is about an hour drive out of Bar Harbor, around the bay, in the town of Sedgwick. This is really out of the direction of all touristy areas, and there's no exact GPS address for it. It's off Snows Cove Road. If you need an exact address to type into your GPS, I guess you can type in 272 Snows Cove Road, Sedgwick, Maine, which is the address of an elementary school located a few miles south. But you're going to need to use your human brain and follow some directions if you actually want to find this Micmac Burying Ground site. As you drive south down Snows Cove Road, at one point you're going to notice this huge field on the left side of the road with a lot of mounds made of stones of various sizes. You can't miss it. At the very end of the field, you'll see this unnamed road on your left side, which was built for bulldozers, never meant for cars. If you reach Millstream Drive, you've gone too far, and you'll need to go back and find the unnamed road. I'm guessing the road was built for the movie. I drove down at maybe 100 feet and quickly realized I was making a foolish mistake, so I parked my car on the side of the road and walked. I didn't see any signs saying private property or no trespassing. As I walked down the road, there were more piles of boulders on both sides of me. I could see the mountaintop in the distance and could recognize that huge rock that Lewis and Jud passed in the movie. So I just walked towards the rock. I'm guessing the walk is almost 1 full mile from Snows Cove Road. When I got to the top, there was one pile of boulders. I couldn't tell if that was there naturally or if it was the one pile that remained from the concentric circle of stones built for the movie. As I sat there, I took in a very surreal moment. In the movie, we also see a human cemetery where the characters of Missy Dandridge and later Gage were buried. I'm not sure if the movie even made it clear that these were the same cemetery, but I can assure you they were. It's called Mount Hope Cemetery, located in the city of Bangor, about an hour's drive from these other Pet Sematary filming locations. The GPS address is 1048 State Street, Bangor, Maine. As soon as you drive inside, if you look towards your right, you immediately see the spot where the character of Missy was buried, with Stephen King doing his cameo as the minister. Or if you drive further on the right around the hill, you'll quickly see the spot where Gage was buried and Lewis snuck to dig up his body. Of course, when you sit there, you look over and see the spot where the ghost of Victor stood. Or if you look beyond that, you'll see where Lewis left his car, the gate he had to climb over, and the road that security drove down. Now, although it wasn't seen in the movie, from that cemetery it's only about a 10-minute drive south and west to get to Stephen King's house. The address is 47 West Broadway, Bangor, Maine. Normally I wouldn't post a celebrity's home address like this, but this address is listed on Google Maps, Bing Maps, and it just seems like Stephen King has no problem with people knowing, just as long as you don't cross the gate. When I got there, I saw a handful of tourists taking pictures of themselves in front of the house. Now, if you want to go virtually right around the corner to Jackson Street by the corner of Union Street, which is about a 1-minute drive or a 5-minute walk from Stephen King's house, you'll see this drain. Stephen King once walked down this street, saw the drain, and that's what gave him the idea for the famous scene in the story It, when Pennytwise the Clown has Georgie's boat. Now, in both the 1990 movie and the 2017 movie, the drain we saw had little resemblance to this drain that Stephen King based it on. However, in the 2017 movie, you might notice the scene takes place on a street called Jackson Street, just like the street King got his idea from. I'd say that cannot be just a coincidence. And that's basically it. If you're visiting Maine and might like to see some filming locations from Pet Sematary and a few other fun places for Stephen King fans, this is my basic guide and advice. And of course, I'd like to hear some feedback from you viewers. Did you find this video to be interesting, helpful, and do you have more information I should have mentioned? Please leave it all in the comments below. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more of my videos, then please feel free to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you. Thank you.